What is up, fantasy football fools? We are back. A long-awaited return of the fantasy football season. It's been a long off season, but man, I'm starting to get the pre-draft jitters, and I'm so excited that we're finally here. How you feeling today?
Oh man, I've been ready for fantasy football for like a month. I've been doing different things on a weekly basis. I seriously cannot wait till Sunday. It's the best day of the year to me.
Oh man, it's like Christmas on steroids, dude. I'm so excited. I usually try and contain my excitement until the draft's at least like a couple weeks away, and we're less than a week now. I've been carrying this football around for like the last 4 days. I'm just pumped to go. And I see you got our results from last year pulled up. Big Geoff on top. Did you have something you want to say about last year's finish?
Yeah, we never really gave Geoff his flowers. We didn't do an end of the season podcast. We were kind of all pretty pissed that Geoff won. Didn't want to give him his flowers, but I think he deserves some flowers. Geoff with the winner. He didn't have the best record, but he showed up with the playoffs. You can see Rudy got second, Lubasi got third, and then I got fourth. But yeah, good season by Geoff. Solid team. He was strong all year. He had a couple up and down weeks, but he had a good team. It was a well-deserved first place team. Sometimes, people get in those playoffs and their team kind of sucks, but I think he had a well-deserved win. Him or Rudy could have won it and it would have been all right with me, but he had a pretty good team. What do you think about the team itself?
Well, I mean, it won him a championship, so it was a good team. Justin Jefferson as the anchor. He did
Yeah.
have some down weeks last year, but I mean, he was pretty much the best receiver out there, and he had a lot of good pieces. Josh Jacobs, what a year! Guy that everybody was down on last preseason just came out and had an insane year. So, congrats to Geoff, but let's not forget that it was a last place his first season in the league, and then a first place the second. So I feel like this is a telling year for Geoff to find out which one of those finishes was the actual fluke.
Yeah, so here's his 3-11 season last year or 2 years ago. Absolutely just terrible year. Last in every single thing you can imagine in fantasy football. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Geoff. I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna view Geoff. You're gonna have to see. I'm gonna see how he drafts. Chewy had a really good year that year, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm leaning toward maybe a sixth place finish for Geoff. He was last, first. I think he's gonna be in the middle of the pack this year.
I think we might see a missed playoff from Big Geoff this year. I think the fluke was the big win, but it's balls in Geoff's court now to prove to us which version of those is going to be what we're going to have to expect moving forward. But a great year by everybody. It was fun, but hey, that's last year. We're into this year. We got a few new rules or not rules, but a few new tweaks to the league. One thing that personally made my heart jump with joy is we have now moved into the full point PPR. I've been advocating for this for who knows how long. It's been a long time coming, and we finally got it. I'm so excited. How do you feel about the full point?
I mean, half point was fun. Full point's going to be a little different. The strategy definitely changes, but I'm excited. I do like being different throughout the league every year, having something different. I think this is a good time to go to full point. We did, I think, 3, maybe 4 years of half point PPR. So we did a couple years of half point. We'll see how we like full point. It's going to be a different strategy for sure. You're not going to be high on some of those guys who don't get targets as a running back. So it definitely. I want to see how this draft spills out, because some of those running backs I feel like are going to slide, and I don't know if I should take them or not if they slide too far.
I feel like it is going to give us a lot of opportunities to maybe see some big guys slip late. And yeah, it'll be a tough decision. Do you reach for a lesser of a superstar that gets some targets, or stick to your guns and go for a guy that's guaranteed some volume? It's going to be a tricky one. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tricky. And here's just like the league settings. But that's the biggest change this year. Draft settings are going to be the same, 90 seconds. We draft this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and the draft order will be 1 hour randomized. So we'll do that. Another big scoring change, I don't know if it's really big, but our kicking is going to be different. Our field goal made, so depending on the yardage that the field goal kicker makes, you'll get the points from that exact yardage. So if Justin Tucker hits a 36-yard field goal, you'll get 3.6 points instead of 3. I think that's a fun little change. It's not really going to I don't think it's going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but it's a little fun change that I'm glad that pushed through.
Yeah, I voted for that as well. I'm pretty excited to see how that plays out because it's fun from two different aspects. Like you used to get 3 points for anything under 30 and 230 or to 39, and now you're not going to get that. So if guys are kicking 20-yard field goals, that's less points. But then on the other hand, if they're getting like an actual 60 or like 62, you getting the extra on that end. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see how that one plays out because I didn't even know that was on the table until you posted the poll on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh hell yeah, that sounds sweet."
Yeah, it's definitely going to make kickers a little bit more valuable because you're going to get at least, I would think, maybe 2 to 3 points each week, depending if they make it each field goal. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to drastically change the outcome of the playoffs or anything like that, but it'll be a fun change. But speaking of playoffs, we did and are moving to a 6-man playoff. That's somewhere down here. Yeah, 6-man playoffs, 1 week playoff matchups, head-to-head record for playoff seeding tiebreaker. Actually, I'm changing that right now because we usually do intra-division record. So I'm actually changing that right now. But that is our new playoff format. Do you like that format, Rye?
Yeah, I know we've tried it a couple times in the past. And I think we have been doing the 4 for a long time with the 2-week matchups. So I think this is a good little mix up to change things up and see if things are different. Now, I think the last time, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the last time we did this, we might only had 10 people.
Yes, we did this probably third or fourth year of the league, which started in like 2011 or 10. So this was still probably first year of college for most of us. I think is when we did it. We did it really early in our career, and we quickly switched it back. So it's going to be interesting to see if people like this.
Yeah, because I think one of the main reasons that we didn't keep it was because only 4 teams weren't making it, and you were getting almost the whole league in there. And then there was the 1-week matchups that were kind of people had mixed feelings on that too. But I think now with 12 people, I'm interested to see if the 6 teams going forward, it's half and half now. So I think that's going to be a little bit better than when we had 10. But I do still think the 1-week matchups is going to be something I mean, I think people are either going to love that or hate that. Because I don't know that we probably have quite a few new people in here than we had when we did that 16 playoff thing then too. So maybe have some new experiences for some people to have these 1-week matchups. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the 2-week matchups. I just think the better team has the better opportunity to win. But we'll see how the 1 week goes. There's no way to do 6-man playoffs with 2-week matchups without, condensing the regular season. And that's probably a little bit too much work and probably a little too different for now. But yeah, we'll see. We're keeping the 2-week playoffs for the mini game. The mini game is staying the same as last year. That's the top 4 point getters for the whole regular season get into a 2-week playoffs. That's going to be the same. So we're not changing that, but that's only worth, 100, 125 or whatever the payout is for that. So, but I am excited to bring that mini game back. I think that gives the best of the best teams of the year at least a good chance to win their money back, or at least half their money back if they win that. So I'm glad. I think that mini game is going to stick. I think we've done a lot of mini games in this league the past like 5 or 6 years. And I think this one's going to stick.
We have done a lot. They've all been fun, I think, but I do like this one. This is pretty good, and we have enough categories and other stuff out there to keep people in it. So, and this year you're getting 2 extra teams in the playoffs. So
Right.
the records to get it, this is something I actually haven't thought about too much. The records to get in might be a little bit more lenient. Usually you're kind of looking at teetering around like 6 losses and you're pretty much out of consideration by like, mid-season. But
Right.
now I don't know, you might be able to sneak in a 7th or an 8th possibly depending on how things shake out with 6 teams going in.
Yeah, and the trades can get a little more with more people in the playoff push. So that's another thing that we could keep seeing trades later in the year. I did change the trade deadline to November 8th. I think the NFL trade deadline is like end of October, so I gave it a week after that, just so we can trade traded players. So that's another thing that I said I was going to change last year, which I did. But yeah, so a trade's going to be a little later this year, or more interesting this year, just because more people are in the playoffs, so more people are going to want to change their teams for the better. And we've had a lot of trades the last 2, maybe 3 years. I remember this league never did trades. Like we had maybe one a year if we were lucky, and now the last 2 years we've had probably about 6 or 7 each year the last 2 years. So it's been crazy, and I love the trades. It makes the league a lot more fun and a lot more commutative on if it was a bad or good trade. So I'm excited for more trades this year. I hope people do trades.
Oh, I'm sure we will. We've had some blockbusters the past couple of
Yeah.
years. It's been good. It's made for some great content for us to get on here and talk about too. Hopefully everybody likes it when we discuss the trades. But yeah, I don't see that part going away anytime soon. I think that standard has been set and people know that trades are on the table. I feel like everybody's kind of always hawking everyone else. As soon as the draft's over, you're already scoping through other people's team. Like, who can I sell to get the guy that I actually wanted?
Yep. Yep. I agree with that. So we're gonna just go to the standings right now, unless you have anything else you want to talk about, any new things that we forgot about.
No, I think we touched on them all. So here's our division layout. Hopefully everybody has gotten settled with where they're at and what division to see who you're going to be fighting for this year for those 6 playoff spots.
Yeah, so you got me, Dom, Jeff, Jimmy, Chris, Ryan. I think that's probably the better of the 2 divisions, if I do say so myself.
I
And
mean,
then,
I think anybody looking at this would see that we have a little bit of a, I think, stronger division over here.
yes, I agree. But James is talking a lot of crap now, so I think he's expecting a big year from himself. I'm sure everybody's expecting a big year from himself, but James doesn't usually talk as much as he's talking this year. I think he was pissed the last 2 years. I know 2 years ago he had downright the best team in the league, just didn't make the playoffs, and then last year he just had a terrible team. So he's been talking. He's been mad about the last couple of years. I think we might see a surprise James playoff berth this year. I think he's going to be hungry. I think he's ready for this year.
I mean, looking at this division over here, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say James might be an early dark horse in this division. I
Yep.
mean, obviously nobody has teams yet, but if you just look at kind of the statistical uh, last few years of the teams in here, I mean, Rudy did get second last year, but like the 14 years before that, he was not so good. So
Right.
so yeah, maybe James sees an opportunity here with the guys he's got, and he's got bum ass Lubasi in there too. So James is probably foaming at the mouth looking at the division he's in, thinking he's going to get one of those playoff spots.
Yes, I like James as a dark horse, and I do like Johnny as a dark horse too. He's been middle of the pack a lot. I think the last 3-4 years. I'd have to look at kind of where his finishes are, but I think he finished like last one year, but I think he's been pretty middle of the road. I think with this new playoff schedule, I think he benefits a lot because he's going to be, the 5th, 6th team that sneaks in the playoffs, and all he has to do is get on a hot streak, and he, wins the league. So he's another dark horse that I like in that division as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing either of those guys come out on top as long as I'm right across from them at the number 1 spot on my side.
Right. So then we have the scoreboard. So this is week 1 matchups. Very good matchups. Just great rivalries off the bat with you and Lubasi. I'm going to be looking at that game probably more than me and Jimmy's because there's already a lot of shit talk in the group message and I'm excited for to get that one underway.
That bum is not doing anything against me. I'm just to tell you that right now. Week 1 in the bag. I'm already thinking about week 2. I'm not even worried about week 1. I'm basically just looking forward to the following weeks after that because I already got this one notched in as a dub.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. Jimmy's going to be a tough opponent for me. So you're looking at Dom already next week or week 2, huh?
Now that'll probably be a tough matchup. Dom's historically been a pretty solid team in the league, so I might be a little bit worried about that one. We'll have to watch a little extra film that week, but not too worried. Week 1's in the bag, but we do have some good matchups here. I think Nick was also one of the worst teams from last year as well. So him and James kind of down there, both trying to get their season off to a different start this year than they were looking like last year. So that should be a pretty good game. And then we got Geoff and Rudy, the showcase matchup, the championship from last year. We got week 1 is packed here, pretty good. Not saying your guys over there games don't matter. Those Chris and Dom should be a good game. Yep. Johnny and Chewy, you and Jimmy, but I think these 3 on the right here looking pretty juicy.
Yeah, I think Nick actually started the year last year really strong and just fell off a cliff. I think he had Josh Allen, and once that elbow injury got him, he was kind of screwed.
Yeah, he might have started out. He might have been one of the last undefeated teams, actually. And then
I think Johnny was at 6-0, and I beat him.
Oh,
Nick. I think Nick was 4-0 or 5-0 before he lost.
So Johnny was the team that started off like 6-0 and then went like 6 or 7 straight losses.
Yeah, I remember I started that streak for him. So that goes with kind of the league and kind of where we stand for a week or for draft weekend, which is Sunday again. But I did find, I was a little bored at work today, and I kind of just went through kind of our draft, where we all drafted each year. And I just thought this was really, really cool and really fun to do. And you can see kind of where everyone drafted. I've drafted 12th the last 2 years, and then I had 5th pick, 10th pick, and then 7th pick. I've never had a top 5 or a top 4 pick, whereas Chris has literally picked in the top 4 every single year.
That's crazy.
And that's a 33% chance of that happening each year. And he's done it all 5 years that it's happened.
That is crazy.
Then you can see like green is the team that won. Second was blue, and then red, orange is 3rd place. And you kind of want pick 10 or 8. If you're looking at the trend, pick 8 and 10 have the most placed finishes. And I don't think I'd mind 8. 10 I'd be a little iffy, but I think 8 would be the pick I'd want if just looking at this board that I made.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the 10th pick because you got that sandwich in between you with four picks in between you every time, and that's just like not the block that you really want. But yeah, I mean, the numbers don't lie here. Looks pretty good, and 1st or 2nd pick is usually good to at least get you a top 3 finish most of the time, at least 3 out of 5 years. But I mean, honestly, we got a lot of colors here just floating around the mid picks. So maybe those first 3 aren't really something to be excited about. I don't know.
Yeah, 3, 5, and 12 have never been in the money. So if you have those picks this Sunday, history is not on your side, and that's kind of like curious to me because 3rd pick, you get a top 3 pick in fantasy, and just never to make the money. That was kind of shocking to me, at least.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about why that might be. Like maybe because the first 3 picks are almost always predetermined. Like there's no like trying something fancy. Like there's usually 2 or 3 guys that you're going for there, and then the 3rd guy is whoever the first 2 aren't.
Do you know who you picked 2021? Who was the 3rd pick for you?
I have no idea. I know who it was in 2019 for my 2nd pick.
Well, yeah, I know that. But yeah, because you look at the 3rd pick, James, Ryan, Chris, Dom, Rudy. I mean, those are all pretty solid guys that have had solid teams in the past. It is very interesting to just see that. And then pick 5, the same thing: Dom, Jacob, Jimmy, Ryan, and then pick 12. It's a little different, but yeah, that was something cool that I just did. That was, I don't know why I thought of that, but I just did and did it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. I like that. I'm not sure what pick I really want, but I definitely know a few spots I don't want. And honestly, I think top 3 is probably not in where I'm trying to be.
Top 3's tough. It's just so long to wait. You had Alvin Kamara that year for the 3rd pick.
Bad
But
pick.
yeah, top 3 is tough because you get a really good guy. At least he should be really good. And then you just have to wait so long to pick.
Yeah.
And the bad things about the first 3 picks and even the last 3 picks is if you really want a guy on your team and the draft board just doesn't fall, like if you want somebody in like the 2nd or 3rd round and the draft board just doesn't fall, you either have to really reach for the guy or you just got to hope he falls, and that's always tough.
Yeah. Yep. You basically got to get out there and just play your game and not worry about what the board looks like most of the time. But then sometimes you kind of do got to know what the board looks like. So it's a fine balance.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'm ready for draft night. We'll be back at you with a lengthy draft recap, I'm sure. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up what we were looking to do tonight. Did you have any other closing thoughts?
No, I don't think so. I've texted everyone who has still yet to pay. Get that money in as soon as possible, and we can get on with a great year. Sunday, draft day, probably Monday or Tuesday, we'll do the podcast, and then Thursday we headed off Lions at Chiefs, and we hit the ground rolling.
We're almost a week away from kickoff. This is, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think. I hate to think that summer has already pretty much flown by, but man, getting those early season football jitters, dude. I'm so excited for the season. I'm so excited for the draft.
Yeah, Sundays are my new favorite day now.
Oh man, we only got one more Sunday without football. One more, guys. We can do this, and then we got football every weekend until February. Oh. I'm so stoked. All right, guys. I think that wraps it up for us tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the pod. Like I said, we'll be back next week for the draft recap. So everybody study up, and we'll see you Sunday.
Peace.